Hey guys, it's Marni. Buying a car is a not so fun experience for most people, and it doesn't have to be. At TrueCar.com, they'll help you get rid of the fear that you may overpay. You know you'll get a fair price because they show you what others paid for the car you're looking for. TrueCar.com analyzes what people are paying for their cars in their market and shares it with consumers so that they never have to overpay. Over 40,000 cars were sold by TrueCar certified dealers just last month. Users see an average savings of $3,046 off MSRP. TrueCar certified dealers go through a certification process, and you work directly with a TrueCar representative that will honor your savings. TrueCar certified dealers believe that truth and transparency are essentials to a better buying experience. First, go to TrueCar.com and find out what others pay for the same vehicle in your market and around the country. Second, register at TrueCar.com to see upfront pricing information and lock in your savings certificate. And the third step is simple. Just print out your certificate and take it to the TrueCar certified dealer for a better hassle-free buying experience. TrueCar has the most comprehensive new car pricing information available and a certified network of dealers that offers a hassle-free car buying experience and negotiation-free guaranteed savings. Support the Ask Women podcast and shop at TrueCar.com.
Podcast1.com presents the Ask Women podcast. A place where three female comics and a professional wing girl get together to dissect the female mind.
You don't know how I feel.
And explain it to men in terms they can actually understand. Boobs. Now, here's the lovely ladies of Ask Women.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Ask Women podcast, where you get real advice straight from the source women. I'm Kristen Carney, comedian, actor, etc., writer, and we're here with Marni Kinrys, of course, best-selling author and relationship expert and owner of the Wing Girl Method and mom and da-da-da.
And nothing else.
And she
No,
can
I'm like,
keep going.
I'm not
If she
anything
wanted to,
else.
just
Yeah,
keep going.
exactly.
And of course, Jason Capital, thank you for coming back, who's back from 2 weeks ago. No scarf, a couple bracelets. I can handle.
I seem to lose bits of clothing every single time I come
I know,
here.
seriously. Let's
This is
put
probably
it
as far
back
as we
every
can go.
week.
I wouldn't really consider bracelets clothing, but totally if you want to go for it, it's fine.
It's so weird being across from you where you like have great eye contact right now. You're usually beside me.
Yeah, it's kind of like, because Marni and I normally we always sit next to each other for the show, but it's almost like I feel like we're the couple that eats on the same side of the booth.
Yeah,
and it's just like, whoa, weirdos.
That is true.
You know?
Maybe
So I
you
feel
should be there from now on.
Yeah, but then when the guest comes in,
Then
you
they
know.
can be my couple.
Yeah, but
They
then
could-
that's too much the power seat. That's like the head of the table.
That's
And
true.
so I'm like, no, I'm the head of the table.
Yeah, and
so
you
then
have
I'll
to
move
please
back.
us.
Okay, I think we've
Yes.
gone far enough with the seating arrangements. Let's.
Really? I could
Oh,
talk about it
really?
for
You're
10
going
more
to
minutes.
stop the host
I
of the
got
show?
really bored. I got bored. I'm just
If
gonna be
you
honest.
were in this seat, he would have never said that.
Now I'm going to call you Jason lowercase.
Nice. Now we have tension in the room. We can go.
Well, but thank you for being back on the show, and I hope people have checked you out. It's winggirlmethod.com/JasonC to go check out more of his information, which is fantastic and wonderful. And I did want to do a Wing Girl Minute to start off the show. All right, so here is a Wing Girl Minute. If a woman is nodding her head, giving you one-word answers, and has her body faced away from you, she is not interested in you. However, if she is focused, engaged in conversation, touches you slightly, and reapplies her lip gloss, then it's game on. And that was a Wing Girl 15 seconds. I was a really short one. Also, just quick tips. Anyway, all right, so that was that.
If she reapplies like chapstick, it's just really dry air, though.
Right, exactly.
Really, honestly.
She just wants you to get the hell away from her. So I wanted to talk today because my mom is still in town visiting, and we were having a really interesting conversation because I was talking to her about friends of mine who are, a friend of mine who is at her job currently, and she is being really overworked, taking on the role of about 10 people and not being properly compensated for it. And I keep saying to my friend, you know what, why don't you stand up for yourself and say something to your boss, like say something that you're being worked too hard, or at least try and get an understanding of where, this boss is and if they can offer you more money or at least decrease your hours, whatever. And then as we were having this conversation, I started to draw a correlation between that situation and the friend zone, because my friend said to me, I don't want to say anything and ruffle any feathers. But she would bitch and complain to me every single day, but she doesn't want to ruffle feathers. Same thing with guys who are in the friend zone who don't want to say anything because they could potentially ruin everything. So that's what I wanted to talk about for this week's chapter in the man's playbook.
Are you horny to win?
Oh, yes, I am.
Some music.
I know, which is not playing right now. We're being totally thrown off by all this silence. It just feels like so strange in here without the
He's gonna edit it all
additions.
out.
Oh, and there's a ghost. There's a ghost in the studio. What the
Most
hell?
professional show
Yes,
ever.
I know. Seriously, we're falling apart. Ask Women is falling apart
No, but
completely.
that's a really interesting comparison. That's 100% true.
If only I
It's the
could
same
be in the
thing.
friend zone with my boss, I'd be like amazing. Like I don't even know how to get in like the acquaintance zone with my boss.
But talk more about it, Jason.
Well, I literally, I don't know who I was just telling this before, but I was telling them that it's your fault when you get disrespected. You know, people like in conversation where they meet someone and someone really disrespects them or basically like what they're doing at this person's work, right?
Yeah.
And it's your fault when you get disrespected because you communicate to everybody how you are going to be treated. If someone treats you like shit, it was because you sent off some signals that told them, hey, it's okay to treat me like shit. I'm not worth anything. Don't worry about it.
Right.
And that's probably what this friend is doing.
Absolutely.
at
No, the
work.
thing is that like her boss isn't treating her like shit. They're just not thinking about them at all because they seem to be okay with everything.
But if it was someone they like really respected, they probably wouldn't be like, "Oh, don't worry about it. She'll take care of it," and just keep piling
Right.
on top of her. You know?
So what should this person do? So in both instances, right? Is it what do you do in a job situation if that happens to you or you're going through that situation, and what do you do if you're in a friend zone situation?
Well, the most important thing is hopefully, obviously, she can't do this anymore. But when you start the first relationship in those first 10 seconds, that's when all this like first impression shit is being communicated. You need to like establish what your relationship is going to be from the very start. Are you guys going to be people who banter with each other a lot and have a lot of fun and can mess with each other, or is it going to be one of those really like boring, formal, let's all talk about bullshit like the weather relationships?
Right.
Is it going to be that way? Am I going to be treated like shit? Am I going to treat you like shit? Like, how is this relationship going to go?
I think in terms of the job situation, something that can be really helpful is just simply changing your body language around your boss. Like if it's literally that type of situation, and you can apply that
love
to
this.
being in a
Good advice,
relationship.
Kristen.
But you can stand with your shoulders back a little bit more. You can wear like a nicer, more powerful blazer. Just things that give you the feeling to your boss that you're an equal. And all of a sudden they do perk up. And it gives you a quality of worthiness. Mm-hmm, and I think, yeah.
Well, the thing is like what my mom and I were talking about is that, you know, you do think that in both situations that if you do say something, you're going to ruffle feathers and you're going to lose everything, which is why people typically
But if you ruffle feathers. If you ruffle feathers, that means your boss is a chicken. I just made that up.
I'm not even sure. Yes, that is true.
You know
if
what
you
I
do
mean?
ruffle feathers,
Yeah.
it means they're a chicken. Exactly. But that's the whole thing. Like you can live miserably for the rest of your life and just be bitter and angry and hate people. And exactly what you were
Like
saying
me.
on the other show that you were on with us, like, well, and you're saying it now too. You tell people how to treat you, but like it's your responsibility. That's what we were talking about the last time. It's your responsibility to take responsibility. And if you really want something, you have to put it out there. You don't have to put it out there like a dick. You don't have to demand it. You can be a confident, calm person who can go in and have the conversation, whether it's with your boss, where you can find out from their point of view what is going on with the company and why you are being overworked and how you can discuss potentially revisiting boosting your salary 1 month from now when things change.
Exactly.
Or you can walk away from the job. And same thing with guys who are in the friend zone. You can talk to the woman that you are in the friend zone with about what you want and express to her that, you know, being a friend isn't exactly ideal for you.
You know, when a person goes in to get a raise at a place of work, usually they'll say, these are my values. This is what I've done so far. Should a guy do that with a girl, or is that too planned out into?
Well, what would you tell guys to do if they want to get out of the friend zone?
Just don't do any lists ever with women. Lists
I
never-
helped
Here's what
you
I would
move.
like.
I
Here's
helped
what I
you
would like.
move, and I helped you.
But that's what a lot of guys tend to do. Oh, I helped her move.
Because they think in lists. They're like
Yes.
all analytical. They think in lists, and they almost weigh the like I've done X, Y, Z for her. So
you should want to
doing
have
X.
sex with
and,
me.
And that's not how it fucking works.
Right.
That's not at all how it works.
I should have asked that. It was a really dumb
like-
question.
No, but that was good that you asked that because some guys are probably thinking those same things.
Check this out. I know a girl who had a guy recently who she was totally friends with. He was in her friend zone, or so she thought. He randomly emails her a contract about 3 pages long for friends with benefits.
Psycho.
Didn't say anything about it. Just randomly emails her, hey, let's start having sex. Here's the arrangement. And he was like, I'll pay $50 a month for your gas bill. For the
No.
I'll take, like he had all.
I wonder
this
which one of our
stuff
friends
for her.
gave him that template. Yeah, because I will not have him on
I
the
thought
show.
it was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
That's hilarious.
Was he being serious about it?
100%.
But did he know it was kind of funny at the same time?
No.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
really?
He
He's
literally
psychotic.
he just assumed, he thought like this is how it works. Friends with benefits.
And he was expecting the contract signed and returned to him.
Yeah, instead she forwarded it to all of her friends
get
and all
sure.
of his friends, and I think someone may have posted it on
needs
Facebook.
to be on, like,
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
It's great.
Oh, actually, I do want to tell one story. My au pair, which you were making fun of me for before, she went out the other night and she was with this new girlfriend that she had made. And this guy came up to them, bought them drinks, and then, after he bought them drinks and chatted them up for a bit, he said to the other girl, "Do you want to go salsa dancing with me?" Like leaving out my au pair, who was very cute as well. And then the girl she wasn't interested in him, but she also said, like, "I'm not going to leave my friend and go somewhere else with you. I don't really know you." So then he separated, and at the end of the night, he walked up to them with the receipt from the drinks that he bought them. Not to pay for it, but just to show that he did pay, and wrote his phone number on it, thinking that was like a sly move.
Oh, okay.
Like that's like super sexy. Like I paid $27 for drinks, and here's my phone number. So yes, I have money, and here's my phone number because I'm super sexy. So yeah, the things that are inappropriate that guys should not be doing.
It's
We've
just shocking that guys think that is going to work.
It does not work.
Yeah, it's not a bartering. Like for the most part, unless it's like a super hoe year round, it's not gonna. There's no bartering system with women.
No, and they will not be won over by telling them that it is a barter system.
Because their decision to have sex with the guy is purely emotional,
100%,
as it should be. Like it's the same thing for a guy. He wants to have sex with a certain girl because he feels a certain sense of desire. Exactly. And it's the same thing otherwise. And a receipt simply doesn't arouse desire in women, as far as I've heard.
I'd be like, unless your credit card numbers are listed on that receipt perfectly, don't give it to me.
Exactly. So tell us, Jason, how do guys do that then to get out of the friend zone? I know what I would advise for both sides. If you want to, switch things at work, or if you want to switch things with a woman, what would you advise? Well,
the problem with the guy in the friend zone is that in her mind, he is fully labeled there. He's filed away. There's a lock on it. He's stashed. Like, it's really hard to go from one filing cabinet in her brain to another one, to the one that says friend zone, to the one that says guys I might want to sleep with. So in order for him to do that, the first thing I would say is, we need to change the filing system. Like, we have to change that first. So what you need to do is you need to take a step away for at least a couple of weeks from her, because otherwise she's going to constantly just be reconfirming that you're in the friend zone. Take a couple of weeks away and then reinitiate contact. But this time when you do, make sure that you are displaying signs of a guy that she would want to sleep with.
Which are?
Well, now you have to be teasing her. You have to be playful with her. It's not like you're not the shoulder for her to cry on anymore. She needs to see you with other women. You need to demonstrate that you are an attractive man that is in demand, that women like you, and let her see that. And she's going to be like, at first she's going to be like taken aback by it, and she's going to go, wait, where the fuck did my friend go? But then she's going to be like, wait, maybe I don't want that friend because this guy's pretty fucking cool. Maybe we can do something with this.
And then for those who do want to renegotiate at work, how would you advise? No, but that was
quit your job, go to the beach, and just chill. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
What are you working for?
Same advice. No, that's exactly what I would advise as well. So it's great advice.
I agree.
There you go, patting myself on the back.
Yeah.
No, but that's great. So that wraps up this chapter in the man's playbook.
Before we go to a break, I actually want to tell a quick story of my friend who, she should come on the show sometime. She's a comedian. She's really cute. She's single. And she went out with, she's been going out with this guy recently who is a star on a 90s sitcom. I won't say who
Which
it
in my
is,
eyes, that is like a really famous person.
Please tell me exactly.
Right. Oh, God, I wish. And he's kind of now, that's the 90s have been gone for a while. He's getting older. And they went on a few dates, and she was actually, and she's very picky and very judgmental like me. And she was like, no, I'm actually kind of enjoying this. She was really surprised. And, they went to the theater, and they had gone out to dinner, and everything was going really well. And then she was like, then we had plans to go hiking, and he showed up at my door with 2 pigtail braids. And it was just and she just basically said, he ruined it. It was
completely.
He literally ruined it. She lost her female way.
Boner, yeah.
Right. And so anyway, the next date they had planned already, because she had already planned it, she couldn't really get out of it. They were going to play tennis, and she was very, very nervous for what he was going to be wearing to play tennis. But anyway, what I really wanted to say about that is if you have a thing going with a girl and you're going one look on that girl and you don't know her that well, don't immediately do a change. Don't immediately become a rock star on one date, because you're literally going to ruin
Willie Nelson.
Or Willie Nelson. Right. Yeah. He's around his age, so it's very strange to show up with long braids.
That's so. Wait, well, what was he doing before that? The braids were.
Well, he kind of just had his hair pushed back,
Okay. And how many dates had she gone on with him before?
Probably about 4 or 5, but they lived in the same building for a long time, so they'd known each other.
So
like I met him once.
Seen the
before
braids before in the past? Like,
she never saw the braids. It was like she opened the door and it was just like getting hit with like a really smelly fart. You know, it was just like boom.
I think the fart would have been better in that case.
No, it really
so
wouldn't.
Then she said, "I'm over him." Like that was really into him, and then
it literally ruined it for her.
Really?
Yeah. And so she said they went out to lunch after the hike, and she said we had to go to a restaurant, and he's like there with like 2 pigtails, you know, and so
I don't understand. Why couldn't she just tell him like, yo?
And that was her thing. She said I didn't know how to say anything, and she said it caught me so off guard that if I said anything, it would have come across too shocked, and that I waited too long to then get comfortable enough to say anything. You know, and so it was. She passed the point where it was like you couldn't say anything.
Right. So then she just broke up with him instead.
Well, no, they still were going to play tennis, but she was like, I'm going to judge like what he's wearing to play tennis. If he still has like, if he puts his hair in braids, I don't know if I can go forward. And she's genuinely
or if he wears like super short shorts.
Right.
So has she done?
Like he has male camel toe.
Has she played tennis with him yet? No.
It was yesterday, and I told her to keep me updated, but she never.
Okay, I would like to hear the update on this to see if she's like back into him.
Yeah, I'll keep you guys
like, what could he wear that could just switch her back?
Things can change that fast. Like,
they can.
No, they can. When it's a very. It's almost like having an infant child, like Marni has right now.
Yeah,
like you're molding this little.
What are you saying?
But you're molding this potential life of a relationship could be, and you have to be very careful.
Yeah, very careful.
Because if you do any crazy movements, you're gonna
Well, I will
shake
say
it up.
one thing. There's one of my first boyfriends, actually my first like real boyfriend. He isn't wearing braids, but we were together for 2 months, and I was like so into him, and then he farted while we were making out, and honestly, it took me like a good week and a half to get back into him again. Like I was very like turned off by that. It wasn't like a thing that I liked, and it made me see him a different way.
I once had a girl that I was really into. In the morning, went to the bathroom and came back, and she clogged the toilet, and it wouldn't flush because she left so much of dinner in there. I guess.
Ew.
I can never see her again.
Really?
Yeah.
It is horrible.
I really liked her. Yeah,
That's really bad. In that case, you got to do it in steps.
I don't know.
Do
I
it
don't know
one
what she was
flush
thinking.
and then do a second flush.
Don't walk away and still have it clogged.
And always test the toilet before.
Or go home at 6 o'clock in the morning like I used to do.
Yeah.
When I started dating my husband, he would wake up at like 6 a.m. and I'd be like alert and like up and ready to go. Because I didn't want to fart in bed. I didn't want to do anything horrible in the bathroom. I wanted to leave at 6, like wait for him to wake up and then get out the door and then go do my business at home. Because I could not have that situation happening. I knew it would change his view of me.
Yeah.
It could possibly.
When you've seen someone's feces, like that's a line you don't usually want to cross.
Exactly.
I don't want to cross.
All right. Well, we have an interesting second half coming up. I don't even know.
We have Asha Dahya coming, and we had Zinga on for our last show, who's on Girl.
Yeah.
The Girl Spot. And so Asha's also from the Girl Spot.
You remember that because of G Spot, right?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay. So she's on our show in the second half of the show, and then we will do some overanalyze this with her. Mm-hmm. But we will be back shortly.
See you then.
Hey, what's going on? I'm Brody Jenner.
I am Dr. Mike Dow.
We are inviting you guys to come check us out. It's the Brody Jenner Podcast with Dr. Mike Dow.
It is a fresh take on life's biggest dilemma, love.
You got Dr. Mike Dow, who's a couples therapist. You got me. I'm not the best, but I do a pretty good job. We'll have a different celebrity guest each week joining the conversation with us.
We are serving nothing but love and relationships on the Brody Jenner Podcast.
Go download it every Thursday at podcastone.com. That is podcastone.com.
You're listening to the Ask Women Podcast,
Oh, we got
a
music.
Podcast One presentation.
Whatever. Hey guys, welcome back to the Ask Women Podcast. We're here with Asha Dahya from the Girl Spot, which is a super cool show. And I was on your website, and you created the show, right?
So I have a blog called girltalkhq.com.
Okay.
And the show is called Girl Spot TV. So it's there's a lot of synergy going on there. But
Right.
it's all about women, empowerment, similar kind of stuff on bite-sized TV.
Yeah, and some of the articles you had on your website yesterday, I was looking at already. I had seen one which was Throw Like a Girl.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was actually like really good. I'm not super feministy. I'm
Right.
like, I mean, if I could stay home and sweep all day, I would. But
Right.
like,
I mean, I do that too. I embrace domesticity as well, you know.
I'm just lazy. Like, why do I?
So what you're saying is you don't sweep.
Right. Why do I have to be in the generation that needs to make money of
Right,
women?
exactly.
No.
I'd rather
Yeah.
sleep all day.
Sweep or sleep?
Either is fine.
Both? Okay.
Either is
I'll
fine.
say I was sweeping, but
There you go.
Welcome back to a dirty
Well,
floor.
thank you for
I'm making
coming
this
onto our
weird.
show.
No, but anyway, I just wanted to say about the article. I thought that was a cool thing. If anyone wanted to check it out,
well, what's it about?
It was like a commercial they did, and women were. Or men, women, children, or men and women were basically asked to do something like a girl. You know, so they said stand in place and run like a girl, and they would like run like really like like blah blah blah. And I'm like, did they ask you to run like a woman or a gay man? Because I can't tell the difference.
Very clear, a little bit.
And then they had little girls come in, and they said that to the little girls. And when they did the action, they did it very strongly,
Just like normal, basically.
yeah, like a girl wasn't an insult. You know, as a little girl, they just perceived it as how they do it, which is, you know, trying their hardest, not like very flimsy.
When do you think that changes?
I don't know. Well, a lot of American studies say when women hit puberty in high school, they don't see as many representations out there of women being engineers or scientists or astronauts or presidents. So that's when they start thinking, oh, I should be a beautician or I should just be this, as opposed to men who probably think, you know, they can do everything. So puberty. But it was a tampon commercial. And they wanted to basically break down the stigma of what run like a girl, throw like a girl means.
There's some other commercial
But
that's
it's like,
out there.
I have a tampon in. I don't have the amount of energy right now to actually.
Maybe that's what they were. Yeah, that's probably what they're talking about.
Like, I'm moody right now. There's another commercial out there that there's like a girl and a boy doing something. And
Pantene. Was it Pantene?
Does the father come in and say like, "Oh, let him do it"?
Oh, that's Verizon. Yeah, they're talking about girls, instead of just talking about them being pretty, talking about them being pretty brilliant. So encouraging. It's a push
or pretty
for,
stupid.
Yeah,
like
that
me.
too.
That
I mean, that happens.
No.
It's
about honesty.
Right.
Yeah.
Pretty honest. They're trying to push girls to be interested in STEM careers, science, tech, engineering, math. Yeah. So they're encouraging parents especially to say, hey, get your girls interested in these type of topics while they're in school, while they're young, instead of saying, no, just let your brother do this.
Well, this is interesting because I wanted to talk to you about, like, you know, dating rituals. Yeah. Right?
Okay.
Okay. So from your point of view, you know, your blog it's not feminist, but it's like it's from a feminine point of view.
Yeah.
But so can you maybe explain to our listeners like what being a feminist is, versus being like,
because guys can get
just
intimidated.
Yeah, just empowering. Like what is that difference? Because I think a lot of guys are confused. Should I, you know, open a car door for her? Should I pay for that first date? Should they be doing those things? And would it insult somebody? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, there's definitely this stigma around being a feminist, and it's very scary because people think you don't wear a bra, you don't shave your armpits, and you hate men, and you're probably going to turn into a lesbian.
For sure.
Now, I don't think that is what feminism is. Basically, you just believe in equality and you want to fight for it, because that's what feminists have been doing for years. In a relationship, I think it's individual. You know, it depends on the person that you're with, and you just kind of navigate what your desires are and balance it out. Like every relationship is a compromise, so you've got to kind of come to an agreement where you still feel valued as a feminist or whatever it is that you believe in, and the guy still feels like he's valued as a man or whatever things that he wants to do and project in the relationship. So I definitely think it's an individual basis.
Yeah. So what do you think about guys paying for a date or a first date?
I don't think it's bad. I mean, look, my boyfriend makes a little bit more money than me at the moment, and so
I like that.
You know,
pretty
and I
brilliant.
have no problem. Yes,
I would just assume because my boyfriend's going to get fired soon, not because I'm going to work harder.
And I have no problem with him paying for things, but I'm always like, okay, well, right now, if you're earning more money, I'll do more of the cooking or the house. See, I mean, that would be like very anti-feminist, but I feel like we are a good team, and that's
it's
what
contributing
it's all
in the way that you can right now.
Absolutely. So I don't think it's bad for a guy to open a car door. You know?
Do you think that men should pay for the first date?
I don't know. I think it depends on the guy, and it depends on where the date is. Like if it's a dinner, I think a lot of women would say yes. I think.
What would you say?
I would say yes, but I also don't want to be like, oh, you better pay for this, or we're never going to another date.
But you're
asking someone, hey, do you want someone to buy your dinner, or do you want to pay for it? Like, of course, anyone's going to be like, yeah, sure, I want someone to buy it. But I don't think it's a male-female thing. I think it's I like dinners that are free thing.
100%. But it would throw me off if I was on a date and a guy didn't pay for me. Like what we were talking about the first half of the show, like a guy showing up with braids. Like that would be a buzz killer for me, for sure. It would. Like yes, if I was totally into him, maybe I would give him another chance. But I would be very thrown off by that.
I think the problem is if the guy pays and he expects something in return because of it, he should be paying just as giving. Like, I'm
to be a
doing
nice
it,
guy.
but not expect anything. And every girl would be like, oh, that's pretty fucking cool. He paid and he didn't want anything in return. As opposed to the creepy guy who's like,
Right.
I paid for dinner that's at least second base tonight or something.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
You better
Don't
let me cup your
expect
breast
anything.
by the end of the evening.
Yeah.
And he shows you
There
the
was
receipt,
appetizers,
like
all
that other guy.
right? Yeah.
It's like, this is how much I paid. It's over
How much
100.
sex
Like,
I should get.
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. Okay. So that's interesting. So you are
Yeah.
saying that yes.
I mean, even if the woman, like, I would offer to maybe pay half, but
Yeah.
just to kind of be polite. But obviously, if I offer it, I wouldn't mind doing it. But if the guy's like, no, I'll pay for it all, I'd be like, okay, cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, what if you were on a date and the guy said your half is
That would be a red flag for me.
what does it say?
It says that you're not a team player. You want to maintain your independence, and maybe you're not ready for a relationship because you're your own entity. You have no scope to compromise or negotiate things, and I don't think
He
that's
is
good.
negotiating. He's negotiating that you pay
Yeah,
half
you
the
pay-
bill,
right.
and then he pays half the bill.
He's like, yeah, this is team. You
Like,
pay half, I pay half. There's no I.
I mean, I think maybe some women like that. Maybe some people like guys like that too. I personally
imagine.
would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've asked most women
pretty
that I
ballsy to
interact
do
with.
that.
Well, the problem with that is that I don't even know. I mean, I don't even know if that's why you would feel that way. To me, even if a girl did that or if anyone did that, it's very. You don't have a lot of social awareness. Like, that's just a weird, that's a creepy thing to do. Maybe if you guys had discussed it before and he explained
Right.
this is how I usually run things. I don't want to do that weird dinner thing, so let's just talk about it now. Like, that would be a much
At
better
least
way
you
to
Yeah,
know
I think so
it's
too.
all out on the table before.
Yeah. But if he just waits till the end and he's like, all right, let's mark this down, calculators out. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
I think
going
a
on
guy
Like, puts his glasses on. He's like, "This is what about?"
I also think a guy can use his judgment, and if you know the quality of the person that you're going on a date with, you know that she's not out for a free meal.
Right.
But if you
Right.
you are out with a woman who seems a little, just user-ish,
She's really thirsty. She's a little
then
too hungry.
you can make the decision then. I mean, I would still pay and then not go out with her again.
Yeah.
But you can try to tell who's taking advantage of you and who isn't.
I have a friend who's like that. Like, she's single, but she'll go on dates. Like, I think she's on eHarmony or something like that. She will blatantly tell me, oh yeah, I didn't really want to go on a date, but if I'm going to get a free dinner, I'll go. I'm like, wow, well, at least
Yeah.
you're honest. You know
Oh, I
what
had a
you
friend
want.
like that too. She's like, I don't buy food for my house anymore. I just go on J-Date. I have a date every single night.
I know many girls that are on Match and they just plan out their whole week 7 nights a week for free dinners.
Wow.
They kill it. I'm like, good for you.
They
Like,
know
you
how
guys
to
are
have
gonna do
fun.
it. Yeah.
That's the thing as well. But they're going out to have fun. But but are they also open to potentially finding
Well,
somebody?
I don't know how it is for your friends. I know the girls that I know who do that are the girls who do that, and then they go to the bar at 1, they get drunk by 1:30, and then they go home with like the biggest douchebag at the bar. Like, that's their style.
Maybe
That-
they're not
that's-
even
she's
in it for a
already the biggest
relationship. They're
douchebag.
just trying to.
No, they just want free dinner.
Right.
And they're like
yeah.
nice dinners. Like, these guys are taking them out for like $50, $60 meals. Like, they go to Boa, and they're like, I love it.
Really?
Wow.
But so then, what if they did connect with a guy that's from Match.com? Like,
You assume they have emotions. That would be the first prerequisite for.
oh, right. So they
I'm
don't have
assuming.
emotions. No, but I want to, because the guys who are listening to this show, they encounter those women a lot as well. So I want to hear more about those women.
I think the guy would have to be probably really fucking cool, but I think if they actually connected, they would be like, all right,
Let's
second
see where
date.
this
Yeah.
goes.
Okay, cool.
The problem is, just want to say that the guys who are doing that is that they just like being out for a hot girl for an hour.
Okay, so
Like,
they're both getting an
using
exchange.
each other.
So they're
Okay,
both
so it's
getting
equal.
something.
Exactly.
One other thing I wanted to talk to you about was you were saying before you have been divorced. Or
Yeah.
you are divorced.
It's officially done. So yeah. Have
Okay,
been
so you
divorced.
have been divorced. And
Yes.
You are divorced, but
It's
now
so
you're in another
crazy how
relationship.
divorcees come in all different shapes, sizes, and ages.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you do not
It's
look
true.
like you'd be a divorcee.
Oh well, thank you.
divorcee
I
or
think that's a
whatever.
compliment.
Divorcee.
No, you don't. Yeah.
Divorcee.
So divorcee.
Yeah.
You're so not the divorcee type.
You don't look pathetic, is what I'm saying.
Okay,
I'm just
good.
kidding.
King of the backhanded
No,
compliment.
but I want to hear about that, like about being divorced and then
Right.
finding a new relationship. Because a lot of people who listen to the show are in a similar situation.
Yeah.
They're like, how do you start over again?
It's hard, and the hardest thing for me was how do you get over the embarrassment or maybe shame
That I just put on you?
I was saying-
Exactly.
No, not at all. Like I feared what other people would think, like judgment. Hey, so I'm divorced. That in itself is like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
and I'm dating again. They're gonna think I'm on a Jerry Springer show,
Right.
What?
Right.
And a lot of that had to do with my own cultural background. I grew up in a very conservative Christian background, and I still go to church, but I'm not like. There's a lot of churches like, if you get divorced, how dare you? You should work it out no matter what. I'm like, yeah, well, my ex was a drug addict and he was very verbally abusive. Not sure if that's the most healthy environment to go
Right,
back to.
no.
Right.
So once I kind of started surrounding myself with the right people and kind of finding my value again as a woman and as a person, and realizing there's no shame in walking away from an unhealthy situation. I thought, okay, that's empowering to know that not everyone is going to look down on me for being
awesome.
Yeah. And the biggest thing for me was my parents, because my parents are very conservative, but they're not like Alabama Christians. Sorry if you're listening. They're like,
they would never listen to our show.
Yeah, probably not now. But they
Thanks
were
a lot.
when they said to me, like, just get out of they don't have internet down there. But when they said to me, like, just get out of that situation, we want you to be happy and move on with your life, that was a huge weight off my shoulders.
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool. They may value things a little bit more than what I do, but they still want me to be happy. So that was the most important thing. But then so the relationship that I'm in now, it was a guy that I worked with, and so we were friends beforehand, and so it kind of happened fairly quickly, which, at some point I look back now and think it probably would have been easier to go through like the divorce stuff and the crazy drama without him there and dragging him into it. But to his credit, he stuck around, and going through what we've been through has given me a better appreciation for him as a person and relationships, because now I'm in a healthy one, and I know what should be normal. So
and he wants to be with you if he was willing to go through that, and he didn't walk away.
I'm like, now if you walk away and things are good, you're just a douchebag.
Right.
But back then it would have been justified.
He just likes pain.
So what? Okay, so I want to give the people who are listening steps like post divorce. So what? A lot of people, as you said before, are embarrassed or they're not ready for it. Like, what helped you aside from your parents? Because I know that was like a big step, but having you actually go out to meet other people, like, what did you do, and how did you become comfortable with it, and how do you refine your single self again?
I mean, the way it happened with me, getting into another relationship quickly was kind of accident. If I could plan it, I would probably have waited a little bit. But I understand some people don't want to do that, different personalities. But I definitely would say don't find your worth in a man or in a partner. Like, you've got to know who you are as a whole person.
That's what Zinga was saying.
Yeah. Zinga from so she's been through the same kind of thing, and we've talked about this where you've gone through such a harrowing time. No divorce is ever great, except if you're Gwyneth Paltrow and Chris Martin. Of course, you have this conscious uncoupling. But you've got to know, you've got to kind of gather yourself up again and be whole, and then kind of take it slow. Like, don't jump into another relationship. For me, one of the things I thought, okay, so I'm going to be 28 or 29, I'm going to be divorced. The next person I find, we have to immediately plan when we're going to have kids, when we're going to get married. But, 2 years later, I'm like, I'm not ready for that, and I'm happy where I am. So I think it's just not putting pressure on yourself.
For sure.
Taking it slow.
For sure. No, that's great advice. And then what about for meeting people? I know you happen to work with the individual who you're now with, but like, how would you advise people once they have collected themselves and regained their confidence and found their like single sexy swagger? Where do they go to meet other people who are single?
I think there's so many options nowadays, like especially with apps like Tinder or eHarmony. And I've never done the whole online dating thing, but my sister has, and I know a lot of people have, and it's a really great place to meet people. I think you just have to figure out which app or which website is the right one for you, depending on what you're looking for.
Like to live. Don't go on Craigslist. Maybe stay away from Tinder.
Exactly. Don't find roommates on Craigslist. I've done that. And I think avoid bars wherever possible. It depends on how old you are, but I'm guessing most people that listen to the show are millennials or older. It's like,
why would you assume that?
Because I don't know. They're all teenagers, right?
Alabama Christian teenagers.
Alabama. I think be strategic about where you want to meet people. If you meet them in a bar, they're probably people that are looking to get drunk and hook up, and like you were talking about before.
I do love how everybody always says that, but then they're in a bar too.
That's true.
Like, everybody
it's a big assumption. It's not necessarily.
Yeah. Like, everybody said, like, don't meet somebody at a bar. I'm like, well, I'm at a bar. Am I an alcoholic? Am I like a party animal? No. So I'm sure.
I guess there's exceptions.
Here. Yeah, but maybe it is true. They're at that stage in their life where they are.
You just don't want like a bar rat.
Yeah,
that's there constantly. You never know.
So the guy who's like single and alone, sitting at the bar and like knows everybody there, probably don't date him,
right?
Because then he's
that could be a red flag. And I think there's so many things. I mean, there's so many different types of events and gatherings that happen nowadays, especially in a city like LA, where if you've got a bunch of friends, a great way to meet someone, if they're good friends, maybe through them, because if they're reputable people, they're going to recommend someone really great.
How do you, I mean, I know you met, your boyfriend as it was happening, but how do you tell your future person that you're dating that you're divorced?
Good question.
Yeah, I never actually had to do that because when I met my boyfriend, he knew I was married and kind of going through that.
Right.
So I guess I got lucky in that sense.
Yeah.
He swooped right
But
in.
Yeah.
He knew what was going on.
He's like, I see what's happening
I see
here.
what's going on.
He helped you sign the paper. He's like, just sign here.
Exactly, holding her wrist.
And I'll post it for you.
Yes.
You have to be honest. You've
From
got to
the
be
get-go.
upfront. Yes,
Yeah.
because it's going to show you whether that person's serious or not. And if they're not, great. You don't waste your time in there. Right. So you've got to be upfront and honest.
I feel like you'd have like a strange connection with other divorcees. Like if you met someone who's divorced, you guys would be like, oh my God, we need to talk now.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's like, you meet someone, if you come from a war-torn country and you meet another person, you're just like, what was your experience? And it definitely
You
helps
get
you
it.
bond. Yes.
So do you think that, let's say you were to date somebody else that had been divorced, is it okay to bring up your divorces on a date?
I think so, yeah, especially if you're in a place where it's not still fragile and you can kind of laugh about it and maybe get support from one another. I think that's a good thing.
Well, how do you draw that line between becoming the supportive friend,
Right.
Instead of, okay, we were just bantering about our divorces and our exes being like horrible people, but then continue dating so that there's like something positive around the date?
Yeah. I think if you get dragged into drama, I mean, most people know, all right, I'm being kind of put in the middle of this crazy situation. I don't feel like I'm part of a team. I'm just like another string to the bow.
Right.
Yeah, if you get involved in drama, that's not a good thing. Like, I never involved my boyfriend at any point just because I didn't want him to be pulled in.
Right.
I mean, he obviously gave me advice, but I was very conscious about not wanting him to feel like he's part of the problem or anything like that because it can be very off-putting, I think.
I love that. Sounds like you have a great relationship.
I think you just draw the line at, are you guys... Is it like a really sad, somber conversation you're having about it? Or you
Or
guys,
is it
if
fun?
you're laughing about it, if you guys can laugh about it, talk about
then
it.
that's a good thing.
I think if it's
good.
sad, you don't want to be. Just get away from that.
And if you're
Change
sad,
the
maybe
subject,
you may not be over it or...
Yeah, that's some shit they need to deal with.
Right,
on
they're
their
still
own.
loaded.
Exactly.
So, okay, we have this segment that's called Overanalyze This. We've renamed it because it was called Analyze This, but then we take 20 minutes to analyze questions, so it's Overanalyze This. And it's just people writing in questions, and then we analyze them. So
Okay.
I wanted to start with the questions. Okay, hey ladies, and yes, this is a long one, but it's good information. I love the show and Wing Girl dating tips. I've been listening for a few months now. I'm in a bit of a weird situation with one of my coworkers that started about 10 months ago. I'm 29 and she's 29. I was newly single and she had been single for a year or two prior. We went out to a club one night with a few other coworkers. We ended up dancing together for most of the night. Then I made my move because I was seeing all the right signs, even though she's slightly taller than me and had told me before that she wouldn't want to be with anyone who was shorter than her. Okay. I took her back to my place for some amazing sex. We started seeing each other without any
Would you
of
like
our...
to come over for some amazing sex?
Plus you 3 drinks, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Here's
Deal.
the receipt.
Without any of our coworkers knowing what was going on. After a few weeks, she tells me one night that her ex-boyfriend is still in the picture, and she wasn't sure if they were going to try and work things out. I was understanding, and our secret relationship continued on for a few more months. I thought I was winning her over. One night, she texts me that her and her ex are going to work things out. I was really disappointed because we get along so well, and I really like her. They've been back together for a few months. I decided to start meeting other girls via Tinder and ended up seeing a girl for about 2 months, but things didn't work out. A few weeks ago, we had to do a training together on a Saturday. After the training, we went to a nearby pub for a few drinks. She told me that she had broken up with her ex again because he's a douche who doesn't have his shit together. He's like 33 and still lives at home with his parents. As the night went on, we got into a deep conversation about life, marriage, and kids. How we were both surprised, disappointed that neither of us had gotten there yet. We ended up making out, which led to sex. Amazing sex.
Would you like to come over for some amazing sex?
It's the newest, best pickup line ever.
Totally.
Another week went by, and she tells me that again she's going to try and work things out with him, and they are going on vacation together to Cuba.
This guy's long-winded.
Yeah.
Just like his amazing sex.
Yes.
Give details. At this point, I'm a little fed up with this game, which is interesting they calls it a game. Friday night around midnight, she texts me asking if I was up and if I was home. I was out with friends and told her that I was out with friends. My problem is I don't know what I should do from here. I really like her. We always have a good time
Ditch the
together,
bitch.
even if we are just hanging out as friends. The other problem is she is a coworker that I have to see on a daily basis. It's kind of like rubbing salt in your wounds some days because it brings brings up some emotions, but we've been very professional in our workplace and no one knows that about our previous relationship. I guess I just want to hear your opinion on if I should still pursue her or not. Thanks again for making such a great show. It's really helped me be more outspoken and confident with women.
Oh,
Kevin.
good.
Well, that's good.
Okay.
Well, I think personally, no. I don't think she knows what she wants at all, and she's dragging him through the mud. It's like she's got him tied up to like the back of a horse she's on, and she's just kind of letting the horse go.
But do you think that is very much in line with what Jason was saying at the front of the show? You tell people how to treat you. It's not like it's not that he's openly
It
saying,
is,
I am pursuing you. He's having amazing sex with
I
her.
agree.
Right.
I agree with that to an extent, but you tell someone how to treat you, but at the same time, the person that's treating you that way holds some responsibility
100%.
because they've chosen to take advantage of your weakness.
Of course.
And you want to be with someone who's not willing to take advantage of a weakness or vulnerability and be a bigger, better person.
Yes, but I will say one thing. In my mind as a woman, I think that a man would want friends with benefits. Like, so I would think, okay, he's getting what he wants.
Right.
We're having casual, fun sex.
Clearly, yeah.
Well, here's his problem. He's Mr. Just in case right now, which she's just been, like you said, dragging him
Absolutely.
along. So she's like, I want things to work out with the boyfriend. There's history there. There's investment there. Let me keep this guy around, though, because the sex is, quote unquote, quite amazing.
She's doing what's good for her.
Yeah, and it's convenient for her when she wants to be with the boyfriend. She doesn't talk to him. When the boyfriend's an asshole, she runs to him and hopes to get fucked by him that night or whatever. Like, that's all she's doing.
He's in the fuck zone. Not a bad place.
Seriously, right? but the girl would think that this is what he wants, right? Because she assumes he's out there every weekend sleeping with other girls, not thinking about her, and he hasn't communicated to her that he wanted something more with her. She just assumed
He hasn't asked her to go out on a date. He answers the
But like
phone
he
calls
talked
late at night.
Didn't he
goes
say
to
they
booty
talked about
calls,
marriage and kids and all that stuff? So clearly, like, they're having some conversations, and she's not an idiot. She knows what his intentions are, even though he hasn't directly stated them. You know, if you go out with a girl and you talk about marriage and your future, like, to be the other person on the other end, not knowing, being like, oh, I didn't know you wanted to date. It's like, yes, you did. You're not missing brain cells.
It depends where you think you are in that interaction. If I was with this guy who I'm just like having casual sex with, and we're talking about what our dreams are as individuals and not really saying that I want those things with you, I don't know if I would think you're trying to say that you want those things.
She doesn't know. He's imagining it as them together.
Right.
She's imagining her with her boyfriend.
All three of you are wrong.
But maybe she's doing what you're saying, where she's ignoring the obvious. But I don't know how obvious he is being about what he wants.
I don't think he is, and except for when he's talking about the marriage and the kids. And Kevin, his name's Kevin, right? He sounds like a nice guy. And when he's talking about, we spoke about marriage and we spoke about kids, I wouldn't be surprised if he's the one who brought it up, thinking, hey, hint, hint. But she was just like, oh yeah, totally, I want to get married too. And
this guy.
She's just agreeing with him, but what she really wants is what she wants. And it's interesting that she said, oh, my boyfriend's a douchebag, he hasn't got his shit together. That sounds like her.
No, exactly.
That's totally her.
Yeah. They were meant to be.
Went back to him.
Yeah.
100%. Okay, so what's our advice to Kevin?
Run.
Is it run?
The girl clearly has a pattern, and it doesn't involve you, and just
and being in the workplace, I would get out before it gets too convoluted and too twisted to where it's awkward to go to work.
Do you agree?
Yeah, I think he should either, if he wants to kind of give it a last-ditch effort, put his cards out on the table saying, hey,
put his dick out on the table.
I want. Flop it out. Put your cards out as well and just tell her what you want and say you're not going to compromise. Like, don't apologize for what you want. And if she's like, get out of there.
I agree with you completely. See, that's what I would advise as well.
I would just be very wary, Kevin, that even if because you don't know if she had a fight with her boyfriend last night and then you give her that conversation, in that moment she might be like, yeah, let's try this out. And then a week later, you've seen the pattern. She might just run back.
But then even if she says yes, like, let's try a relationship, and she says to you the next time, okay, I'm going back to my boyfriend.
But then he has to go through that emotional roller coaster, that whole thing.
But it's exactly what we were talking about at the beginning of the show. Like, you still have to go through that and put your cards on the table and say what you want, and then you are allowed the option to walk away. Because if you don't ever say anything and you just take what's given to you,
then
you
they're
get taken advantage of all the time. Then you are an idiot because you're staying with a girl who bounces back and forth to you when she's not having a good time with her boyfriend. So that's what happens to you.
You've got to make sure the ball's in your court by doing that, I think.
Yes, and if your balls are in your right court, then you can have amazing sex. Okay, hello, ladies and guests. Last year, I found myself redeveloping a crush on one of my best bestest friends, 14 years of friendship to be exact. When I decided to open up and tell her what I was feeling, she mentioned once having feelings for me too, and now feeling excited about the possibilities. After discussing how we felt, she decided she'd rather not risk losing the friendship, and I respected her decision. I don't think he respected her decision because he would not be writing to us. Recently, we've been out with friends, and various people have come up to ask me if we are a couple, to which I disappointingly have to respond, no. I thought I'd move on by now, but my feelings have only grown to the point where it's now so internally frustrating just sitting next to her. I have to fight myself from blurting out, I love you, damn it. What do I do? What should I do? Pursue, forget, distance myself, or is this all pointless? What's your perspective, ladies? Because if one more person approaches me to mention how adorable her and I look together, I'm going to flip. Thanks for the great show, great advice, and for blowing my mind on a weekly basis. Stay awesome, Carlos. So what does he do?
I think maybe she doesn't know it, or she doesn't want to admit it, but it sounds like she's kind of in love with him too.
I think so
but
too.
She's scared for some reason, so maybe he needs to give her a little bit of space, and if people think they're a couple, then she's obviously contributing to that as well.
Yeah, there
right?
has to be some body language involved.
Yeah.
You know, they're probably sitting closer together.
There's
very
flirting going
comfortable,
on.
smiling.
Right.
Yeah.
When I look at people who
or just fighting, because if they're fighting, I'm like, oh yeah, totally
they
a
should
couple.
totally be together. No, but I would say the same. Like if I'm looking at two people and there's like, it's not a friendship. You can tell when people are just two friends hanging out, and then but other people who you look at and there's flirting, there's touching.
It's weird. People always think my brother and I are going out. I'm like, God,
Next week's show.
I never want to go anywhere with him because they'll be like, oh, you guys are a cute couple. You look alike.
Interesting. Your brother should come to the show then. I want to see this flirting in real life.
No, there's no. It's just weird.
Like, I'm just kidding. My brother's my boyfriend. I'm just
Apparently
kidding.
there is.
We're in love.
But so what should this guy do? Because I actually agree with you on that. I think that she's kind of protecting herself. Maybe this is like the dreamy romantic side of me, but I think that she could have put out there, oh, well, I don't know if I want to risk the friendship, but by him agreeing to it, she's like, okay, you don't want it either.
I wonder if she
that could be a test.
Single, or well, I guess she's probably definitely single if they're flirting, but I'd love to hear from her perspective, like what is she scared of?
Right.
You know, maybe she's not ready to be in a relationship, but she just wants to have her cake and eat
It's
it too.
interesting that we're all sort of hearing that from this, just the way that he wrote it, because typically I would say, okay, she's not into you.
I see it the other way, ironically.
Yeah.
I think he said in the question that after they had the conversation, now people have been coming up to them and assuming they're a couple and things like that. There's something in our brain, we have many mental biases. There's one called the confirmation bias, which is basically when you want something to be true, your brain will only focus on specific things that support that belief. So he's having these thoughts now of like redeveloping the emotions. He wants to be with her. So now when he goes out with her, his brain is just looking for things that support that. And it literally, it's called a scotoma in our brain, but he's going to avoid anything that disproves that belief. So maybe it's really not everyone come up to them saying they look like a couple. That's just
His
the only
bias
things he's saying. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Interesting.
Oh, that's interesting.
In my opinion, it's nothing. Like
Do you think so?
I think you guys are just friends. Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me.
Well, the only thing that threw me off was the thing where she said that was exciting. Like it excited her to think about
I think
that.
I think she's just a nice person.
Do you think so?
I mean, I think like a girl actually would be like, ugh, gross. Like, but instead she was like, you know,
I don't know if I'd ever. I would say I don't want to ruin the friendship. I would never say that excites.
Isn't it everything before the word "but" is false?
Is that
That's
what it
apparently
is?
what
It's
people
very
say,
exciting. It's a really exciting idea. But let's just be friends.
Oh, see, well, when you're saying it like that, it's really exciting. But let's just keep our friendship. Okay, that's interesting. So, what would you tell Carlos to do?
He should probably back off a little bit so he's not putting himself out there, getting his hopes up, thinking, oh, it could happen any moment now, and then she starts dating someone else. And
that's a really hard place to live.
If you're friends for 14 years, it just seems like it would have happened before now.
Don't you think if she was feeling something,
time.
could you go in love with a guy for 14 years and never say anything? Like, especially if you're like a confident
girl,
you're
exactly.
You're
You
gonna
would say
something at some point. What he should really do is just figure out a way to like emotionally detach from being
like
with
what
her.
you would advise at the beginning of the show,
Right, but then also, now you have a cool girl that's a really good friend of yours. Utilize that value and let her start introducing you to other people when you guys go out.
But that's what he said he tried doing already. He said he couldn't do it, and then he just like his feelings
like too painful.
increased.
How do guys emotionally detach? Because I hear so often like boys don't get emotional. They're mean and they're not very as emotionally invested as women. So I'd love to know like how a guy does that.
Well, there's two ways. One, they get fucked up. They just do a lot of drugs and alcohol for a while. And that actually kind of works. You can go on like a month-long bender and then you wake up and you're like, what was it? You don't even remember her name. You're like, okay.
Right.
That's not the healthy way. The healthier way.
Not?
Well, I mean, I'm no doctor. I don't want anyone out there to like cocaine and alcohol might work. But the other way I would recommend is you need to act in accordance with what you want to feel. You know, like, I think our behaviors are much more important than, like, you can try and you know, mentally mind fuck yourself all day, but if you feel something, you feel something. So act in accordance with the person you want to become. Like, if you want to be a cool, confident, calm, single guy, then start forcing yourself to do things that are in accordance with that. How would a cool, confident, single guy act right now? Would he be thinking about some other girl, or would he just be out there being social, being cool, having fun with everybody? Like, the sooner you can force yourself to act that way, the sooner those like former attachments will become former.
It's really just about altering your behavior. So stop being her best friend and take a step back, and then you can readjust.
Yeah, stop looking back and start looking forward on what the future holds or what you're going to build for yourself now. Yeah.
Exactly.
Look
Okay.
at the boobs, not the butt.
There you go.
Back, you see the boobs. If you look back, you see the butt. If you look forward, you see the boobs.
Okay, I have one more question, and then we are going to wrap up and overanalyze this. Hi, my name is Keith. I love the podcast. I used to be very successful with women, but in the last couple of years, my confidence with women has dwindled. I'm not sure why, but even when women show flirting signs, I trick myself into thinking that they are just being friendly or nice. I always have and still am confident in almost all social encounters, except for only recently with women. Where did I go wrong, and what can I do to get my confidence back? Keith.
Well, we need more information, Keith.
Yeah.
Have you been burned in a relationship before? Is it something like his physicality? Like, has he put on weight to make him lose his self-esteem? Like, I think there could be any number of factors.
For sure. But so then if, let's say it was one of those things, what would be a general piece of advice that you could provide to him?
Do things that make you feel confident. Do things that you know you're good at, that you don't have to second guess yourself. And like Jason was just saying, you see things the way you want to. So it's almost like, you know, if you can't sleep for a night or two, all of a sudden you get it in your head, and then you just can't sleep at all for the next 3 weeks, month.
Something's off, something's wrong. I can't sleep.
Right, but it's all like a mental thing. So he probably just had one or two situations with women that didn't seem to go well, and now he's kind of tripped himself up and got himself all screwed up, that's the way it is. So I would just go back to whatever you did before and not think too much about it.
I would say, I mean, I totally agree with Kristen. The other two things I would add is, one, kind of what she was saying, just change, like, we all have these pictures we remember ourselves as, like, we remember these specific moments, almost like Polaroids in our mind. Like that one time I got rejected and you see that picture, or that one time that girl didn't want to have sex with me. So, like, change the pictures in your brain to the times that were good. Be kind of delusional.
Put an Instagram filter on it.
Right, yeah. Just have an Instagram of just good pictures in your brain. Like, just do that. And then the second thing, one thing you can do, which is an actual activity, every night before bed, have a journal and write down, I call it like a positive momentum thing, but write down 5 awesome things that you did that day.
I love that.
Oh, you read that article too about it. Wait, why? Okay, I started doing that too. Well, I have recently started doing that. I read an article about it where it was saying write down 5 awesome things about yourself for the day, and 5 things that you're really grateful for
and really excited about. 5 more.
Really excited about,
I don't know.
Maybe it was from you that I started doing this. Did you advise this before on the show? Anyway,
I've been doing it for a couple of years.
Or we're the same.
But it's fucking awesome, because you do it for like 3 days straight, and you start to build up like this really positive momentum, because every night before you go to bed, you're remembering all this awesome shit you did all day, and that's all you remember.
It's crazy how you can trick your brain. It doesn't take a lot of work to actually do these things.
I'm too lazy to trick my brain.
It is too lazy.
If I get in bed, I'm like, there's a pillow, and I'm sleeping on it.
Especially if it's like tedious. Okay, I've got to do that thing again when I wake up.
But actually, all of it works.
But if you just do it for like a week, you're gonna like become obsessed with it.
I read an interview with Jennifer Love Hewitt, and she's like been so dogged by the media.
She's like, I love my huge boobs. I have really great boobs.
Yeah, and she was talking about how she got to that point where she was like, screw everyone else. So she wakes up every day and looks at herself in the mirror and says like 3 or 4, may even be 5.
I would too if I was Jennifer Love Hewitt.
And does the same thing.
I'm going to take credit for that one.
She's talking to herself. She's like,
I worked with her.
Oh, you did?
We were going to do a reality show together, and I gave her my guidebooks for the men that I work with.
She got it from.
I believe that she stole it from me, and without credit. I'm very pissed off right now.
Let's all go see her.
Anyway, good thing it's working, Jen.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's not hard though when you have like a tiny waist and giant boobs and a beautiful face.
Right.
And a successful career.
Right.
She's like, check out that bank account.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that's what she writes down.
I did that.
Show me the guy who's living with his parents who's got a big midsection doing it, and I'll believe it.
More like Jennifer.
Fuck it. Fat guy dead in your parent. Do it.
Or like Jennifer.
See what happens.
Who else can live in their parents' basement like me? I do it the best.
But that's the whole thing. But that's interesting, because it's like you can say that, but like that's how you get out of the basement, and that's how you stop living with your parents.
You need to jolt yourself with that emotion, even if it only lasts for 10 minutes, just to force yourself to start doing
exactly. And then better things start happening for you, honestly, if you start reframing the way you view things. But if you say, oh, I live in my parents' basement, and I'm this and I'm that, Jennifer Love Hewitt could say, oh, I have a fat ass, and and this and that. Like you could take any positive and turn it into a negative, and you can take any negative and turn it into a positive, and see what happens. So there's a challenge.
And it projects it onto other people. If you think, I'm insecure and this, people are going to pick up on that and then treat it accordingly. But if you go out there saying, I live in a basement and I rock it, they'll be like, good for you.
Yes, you do. I want to see this basement. Yeah. Well, that's.
I just pictured like Wayne and Garth from Wayne's World.
I want to go to Wayne. I want to go there. Yeah.
I would hang out with them. I would sleep with one of them.
I have a friend when he used to like take girls home from dinner or the bar or whatever, and he had no money. He drove like a shitty '89 Pinto or whatever it was, but he had a name for the car. Right, like he called it the Chariot, and that was like.
But I love that.
He was like, "Have you seen the Chariot yet? Best car ever. You got to see the Chariot." And
but I'm projecting what he 100%. His confidence.
Just name stuff. If you give stuff really cool names.
Yes. Okay, awesome. That is my challenge to everybody listening. So you have to start reframing things and doing the exercise that Jason and I both do, because it will alter the way that you view yourself and alter the way that others view yourself as well.
Yeah.
And that is the end of Overanalyze This. And thank you so much for being on the show. I want you to plug yourself. I want you to tell people where to find you, where to read about your feminist blog. That's not really a feminist blog.
But not really. GirlTalkHQ.com. Yeah. I upload blogs every day. I'm on Twitter, just at GirlTalkHQ, YouTube.com/GirlTalkHQ, Instagram, GirlTalkHQ, Facebook, GirlTalkHQ.
Easy.
All the easy stuff.
Very good at branding yourself.
Yeah, I'm like always on it, and then I neglect my own account, but that's okay. If you want to talk to me on Twitter, I'm just at Asha Dahya.
Okay, wonderful.
Go figure out how to spell it.
Exactly. Thank you for being on our show. You were fantastic.
Thank you so much.
And Jason, if people want to hear more from you, go to winggirlmethod.com/JasonC. And what are they going to see if they go to that page? It's this awesome video that you made about a honeypot, right? No, not a honeypot. What is it?
They might see that.
They might see that. The videos are always changing.
If you're a guy who likes attractive girls, you like attracting girls, then you should see it. But if you don't, then please do not go to that website. So it's up to you.
I like this tactic. And if you have questions for Overanalyze This, write to ask@askwomenpodcast.com. Check out new episodes of our podcast every week. You can go on iTunes or you can go to Podcast One. But we really request that you you subscribe to our podcast.
So they go, as Marni says, to your funnel. They go directly to your funnel.
So you get it no matter what. And then you can check us out. We're on Twitter
at Ask Women Podcast. Follow Marni at Wing Girl Method, and follow me at Kristen Carney.
Yes, and we will see you guys next week.
Thanks for listening to the Ask Women Podcast. Go to podcastone.com next week for a brand new show.